stay posted, you can please silence your phones. Please silence your phones. Please silence your phones. All right, if everyone is trying to stand, if you have a hat on, we ask you to remove your hat. Please stand. Again, please silence your phones.
You understand your excuse.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful, hot, and sticky summer day. We thank you for all that are in attendance this evening. For those members who were not able to come, there's someone calling in to join us. May they be safe and sound. Help us to communicate our message to our family, friends, and neighbors how important this country is, and that there is a future, but the future is with God and with individuals, not the government. We ask you to give the grace and the wisdom to each of our speakers this evening, and help us to be safe and sound. Bless each and every one, especially those who are ill or any of their family, friends, or neighbors who are ill. Amen.
Amen.
Remain standing. Pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see how the dawn's early light was so proudly hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose bright stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight.
Oh, ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare from bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? USA!
Please be seated. Okay, if we can have your attention. Opening remarks. I'm going to tell you a story. There was once a man that was accused of calling a local, I'll call it, person involved in politics, an ambulance chaser. Got me thinking of Route 22. Anyway, so what happened was that I heard that there was a court case recently in which a lawyer attended the court, and he said, I understand that upon being interviewed at the accident, you said you felt better than ever. So then it was asked, tell us a little bit more about the accident. It was actually a farmer, and he had a wagon full of hay. And what happened was, a person in a pickup hit that farmer and his horse and his wagon, and unfortunately that poor horse broke 2 legs. A deputy sheriff showed up. Oh, by the way, someone's phone is here that was picked up in the laser. It's ringing here right now, so. Anyway, so what happened was the deputy sheriff said, your poor horse, I'll put it out of his misery. You put the gun in the horse's head and boom! out of the misery. He says, your dog doesn't look much better. It looks like his back is, he's probably paralyzed. What do you want me to do? He says, I'm going to put him out of this misery. Boom! And then the deputy sheriff went to the farm. He says, now how are you feeling?
Oh, I'm fine.
Anyway, it's good to see all of you here on this warm August night. You are true patriots, and she's coming for her phone, and we're going to give her phone number. We're all going to call her. There you go. All right. Again, thank you for being here. We always say this election is more important than ever. But, folks, again, I've told the history of my parents coming from two different communist countries, two totally, completely different things, but I am just astonished of what's going on in this country. It's just beyond imaginable. So I'm not going to talk too much, but then, how many of you, we were just here just before Independence Day. How many of you were here on that Independence Day? It was 2 nights before Independence. And then it was raining, and President Trump, what did he say? He said, this show's going to go on. So I love what he said. So I stayed up and watched that late, and this is what came on after all of the fireworks there, and those singers from the military. Weren't they great? If you saw them?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so this was great because this gives the answer. So the audio's not great, because I cut this from my phone. Let me see if this works. So I thought that was very telling. You saw the time there was 2:44 a.m. I'm never up that late, but it was worth it to stay up for that. I'm sure a lot of you, I know people, not just in politics, but in general, people who have a very negative approach on life. There are some people that are so negative that when they enter a room, they develop.
Yeah.
So, what I encourage you to do is keep your faith and keep being a beacon of hope within your community and your circle of friends. And tell people, don't be frustrated. We all hear the same story about the Republican Party didn't do this candidate didn't do that, but the other candidates, meaning the other side of the aisle, let me tell you, they're going to give it to you. So you want to see what coming is? This is my father's hometown. One of our relatives went over there. Let me see this place. This building on the right, so this is just filmed a few months ago. One of our relatives went over there. That's my father's town. It's called Nicaragua, Cuba. And the factory that you see, let me see if I don't squeeze this here. Where did they go by? See here. That is my grandfather. This pink building here, made of cement, was our family's tobacco factory. So that large building is still intact. this. It wipes you out. And this is the one I tried to play last month. In fact, Gunther played this. So I got up the Friday after our meeting here, and he actually played this. I sent it to him like late at night, and he actually played this. So I want to make sure you hear this one real quick.
We came to this country when we didn't have a cent in our pockets. From 20 Canary Cays to this night here in New York, it's a long way. And I don't think there's any other country in the world that could give you that opportunity. I want to say thank you, America. Thank you.
So what a difference. That was in 1954, so what, 70 plus years, how people talk now that come here that they don't appreciate America. Very sad. I'll skip this one, I'll put it on. All right, so some people asked about this last month that I put this up there, they couldn't read the amount. So basically what happened was a few years ago, our organization got a penalty for not filing our taxes on time. So several of you asked, well, what was the dollar amount? So we were penalized $1,300, not for, just for being late. It took me a few years, a lot of letters, a lot of phone calls, but I was able to recover that money, and they gave us an interest, which you see down in the bottom right here. So that was their money that was able to recover, and we put it back into our coffers. The only way this organization, and it's funny, I spoke to someone else in regards to a local school, the only way this organization survives is two things: membership and our raffles and our little things that we sell. So I take this role as being, one of the leaders of this organization, and part of it is trying to be frugal and to try to raise money. So I want to thank everyone that bought or sold tickets for the Guns and Goodies. God bless each and every one. All right. Also, the news that I told you, we also have, I think, finally took a while, updated our website. So if you click on that, there's our website, and a little bit different here, as you can see there. There's our meeting flyer. I put over here on the website, so when you go to the meeting, there you can click on that to print it, because everyone has different skill sets as far as technology, iPhones, iPads, but right there, if you click on that, you can print it. If you scroll down there, now you don't have to look for the videos. We have a YouTube channel, but there is last month's meeting right over there. So if you want to watch the video of last month or share it with someone, hey, you should come check it out. Think of what we've had over the last year. We had Epic Times here twice. We have a writer coming from Epic Times after November who's really great. And I want to thank Bobby Younger a lot for his friendship. And he and he says we have a good working relationship. So he's gotten me some speakers. I've gotten him some speakers. But there's our flyer with Janice. And Emily and I went to have breakfast with her. And let me tell you, she gave us the lowdown on China and everything. Emily said that was the longest breakfast she ever had. I mean, we were there for 3 hours with the owner of Hotel Dublin, so it was very interesting.
Oh, wow.
But as you can see, there's the website and all that, so just wanted to share that with you. All right, let me see if I don't lose this here. All right, and moving forward here. Let's see what it is. Hold up here. All right. So I am grateful to everyone, as we have mentioned every month, all literature that is put on the tables, you must get clearance from myself or Jackie. In fact, if all the board members that are present today, you could just stand up so you see who the board members are of the Lehigh Valley MAGA. You can check with one of them. We have Jackie Franklin, Ben. We have our treasurer, our secretary over there. So check with them. People want to put things out about their personal stuff and all that. That's not what the organization is. You have to be a member to even get an opportunity to come to the table. Okay? And then as our speakers up, we kindly ask you to be quiet and give them your attention. If you have a question, don't yell out. Juan or Ben will come with the mic. Okay? Our membership and treasury sales from our guns and goodies, put some money back into the bank balance, which is $58,962. And also on regards to that, American Express is what we've been currently using. They are not going to have a relationship with Amazon anymore, so we were successful in establishing a new credit card. It's called Ramp, so we got that done. Also on a financial note, we had to reapply for our small game of chance license. SGLC and Jim, who is our treasurer over here, sitting over here at the credit card machine, he and I went down to the county of Lehigh, we applied for it, and we should be getting that very shortly, so we're on top of that. All right, this one here is, again, trying to save postage. These folks renewed or became members last month, so if your name is up there and you have not seen Joe Matias behind me, your cards are over there in an envelope. If you don't pick it up tonight, or if you're not here, we'll mail it out. We're just trying to save some postage. Are there any first-time attendees here? If this is your first meeting, please stand up so you can be acknowledged. Stand up. All right, ladies in the house. Thank you, ladies. All right, and back there, Mo and Tom Jory, back there waving at you. They are doing our 50-50, and we always have a nice little cash prize, so that drawing will be tonight. Also, Melissa, if I understand correctly, we should be able to do the 100 gun ticket raffle tonight? Yeah. Is it done? Yes. It's done, so tonight someone will win $500 gift certificate to use at Relic Hunter, Lehigh Valley Sporting Place, AM Warrior Hardware. The only thing is, if you are in attendance and you win, we're going to make sure you do this within a reasonable amount of time. Talking about 2 months. Please don't hold on to that ticket and come to us 6 months later and say, hey, I decided to use it at this place. Then the board has to scramble to go through our notes. So thank you for purchasing those. And I guess, Melissa, do we have a new raffle ready to go on that? Are we selling new tickets? We have new tickets. Okay. All right. If you do not have cash, you can use LVTP chips. So they are still, we're not going to make new chips, no necessary for that. We are officially the 912 Project of the Lehigh Valley, but those chips are worth $10. You can use your credit card, your debit card to use those chips at all of the stations. And then in the back, we have for the West Point trip, where we take scouts, several troops, and to help offset some of the costs, we sell brownies, cannolis, and crumb cakes. Tonight we just have crumb cakes. Joe was not able to come, so I think there might be 1 or 2 crumb cakes left. Thank you for your support for those who've done it. And then U.S. Law Shield is our ongoing sponsor. If you have any type of weapon, or God forbid, people have challenged you for a fist fight or in a parking lot or road rage, you're going to need an attorney. So this is a very affordable way to have an attorney ready to go at a minute's notice. So if you're interested, we actually have cards. We're going to put them out at the tables during the break. I expect to do that, but they will give you an extra 2 months. Okay, next up is Valerie. There she is. Valerie's going to come and take the stage. A little applause for Valerie. She moved a little bit quicker. She was coming up like a Duracell commercial there.
What'd you say?
Watch the tape.
Is this on?
Yep, hold on. Go.
It's got me controlled. You women know we can't be controlled, right? Okay, so, those that don't know me, I'm Valerie from Support the Troops, and I mail free care packages to military, and I'm always looking for names. I spoke a couple months ago that things are very slow. I'm back in business. I'm still not able to send overseas to the real unfortunate area that they're fighting, that they need the packages the most. I met a woman today. She said it took her 2 months to get a package to her son. They're getting, they're getting their food, but they like what we send them, because it's snacks and it's magazines. By the way, I need women's magazines, not cooking magazines, and I need I don't want them to feel bad. But also generic magazines, if you have like People or something unusual that you do. I get a lot of gun magazines and a lot of car magazines because that's what I do. But anyway, in my spare time. Anyway, so I thank you for your support, and if anybody has a place that they can put my flyer, I have some extra flyers back there, and we were talking before about writing things. I also have letters. That's important, so come see me, and I will read one little note that I got. Unfortunately, it was not written by the person that received. It was a family member. So things are different than they used to be. Okay. We want to express our heartfelt thanks for the wonderful care package that you sent to Gracie and James. Receiving your thoughtful gift and letter was not only an incredible surprise to them, but a reminder of the kind people back home thinking of them and supporting them as they are protecting us. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts for your generosity, kindness, and unwavering support. Now, speaking of that, those that have been longtime members probably know that today, August 6th, was the day that poor Michael Strange was killed. And, you know, we have to remember people like that. I am very, very close with the Seifert family. They're like parents to me, and I'm like their daughter. And Christopher was the first casualty of the Iraq War in 2003. And it took one kind soul who fought for 23 years to finally get Christopher the Purple Heart posthumously this week. So don't give up fighting for what you believe in, and don't forget those that have gone before us, and those of you who served. God bless you all. Amen.
Thank you, Valerie. And Michael Strange, obviously his father, Charlie, and his mom, his wife, Marion, have been here many times. They're good friends, great allies. All right, then why do we ask for donations? It's a business we run here. There's operating expenses, which includes renting this room, our coffee, our communication devices that we use, text, phone messages. So there's a lot of expenses that go into running the business. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to generate more revenue so we can possibly hire some people to run this organization even better. If you look at the stage there, I mentioned the flag many times, but then I was always saying I don't like that space underneath the projector screen, thank you. So then we're watching the Phillies game, Emily and I, and I'm thinking of hockey too, and I said, man, they always have those sponsors with the boards there. So as you see there, my idea is pretty simple. I got a gentleman that's in my neighborhood, a Republican, of course, that's a good worker, and he made me those little things. If you see how those signs are being held up, he made me these little things that we can put the signs in there. So we're going to have, I'm going to try to get some corporate sponsors of some sort. If anyone knows anyone, charge them a fee and get a bigger sign that would go up to the screen pull down part. So that's my thought. What do you think? We can get some money. Yep. All right. Faith and Freedom Coalition. So I'm what is called the CD7 captain. As these elections start up now, there's going to be a lot of PACs asking you to do this and that and the other thing. Some of them pay you, some of them don't. Some of them are easier to work with, some of them are not. So I'll just make a plug for Faith and Freedom Coalition. It's run by a Christian organization. I've done it now, I think, 2 or 3 cycles. And it's, to me, very simple. You get literature, you have a phone app, and you get paid to simply drop a card at a person's door. You don't need to speak to the person. All you have to do is mark, I took care of that door. And you're going to get paid this time, you're going to get paid directly, it'll go directly to your bank account. So if you were interested in that, you could see me, I would need your name, your phone number, and your email, or you could give it to Emily at the break. Okay, so that's just one of them. Okay.
Absolutely.
But you can't throw up your hands and be a negative person, okay? Because as Valerie said, one person can make a difference. And you have to think you can be that person that makes a difference. So, they had something scheduled at Northampton County Courthouse, and there's one of our gentlemen here, we spoke earlier at the break. They literally canceled the meeting like about 2 hours in advance of having the meeting about election fraud. So it's rescheduled there, and I think the date is on there somewhere. Are my eyes playing tricks on me, or?
I see August 4th, but that was the
August
canceled
4th,
meeting.
if you see it there, so August 4th, so it's going to be rescheduled.
That was the meeting that was canceled.
Yeah, that was the meeting that was canceled, but that shows you they don't want to clear up that stuff, all right? But Glenn might be able to speak on that, okay? And then what we're going to do now is we're going to have my good friend and ally from Northampton County, our re-elected chairman, Glenn Geisinger, speak first. So we were fortunate enough to have over, I think it was 239 of our 306 seats filled. So, Glenn, welcome on board.
Thank you. You know what, I think before I begin my remarks, I need to thank the person who has been the most instrumental in actually making the Northampton County Republican Committee work, and that is the chairman sitting right there, Andrew Zahn. Let's give him a Roger. I'm getting it. Okay. I'm getting it. And then Amanda came along and who has absolutely been the anchor of our office and our operations the last couple of years, and that is Roger. I promised Andrew I would be very quick, but I'm very much to the point. I am so grateful for the organization that's here. I've been a member of the Tea Party now for over, I think, 12 years, and I'm excited to be here tonight as chairman of the Northampton County Republican Committee to basically say to you, look, there are roughly 100 people in this room tonight. And what I learned from Emile Giordano when I first ran for office over a decade ago was, if everyone that goes out of here tonight and finds 10 people, just 10 people, that they can say either I'm going to bring them back to a meeting, I'm going to get them to vote, I'm going to get them to do something to support the cause in some way, that 100 becomes 1,000. And if each one of them goes out and does the same thing, that 100 becomes 1,000, becomes 10,000. You understand that in this race, what will happen if we can do that out of this room? We will ensure that we have Donald Trump in the White House without any kind of interference, because Ryan McKenzie will win, Rob Breshahan will win, and we will hold Pennsylvania. And if we hold Pennsylvania, we hold the House of Representatives. That is what you, sitting right here, is really all about. We are in the top three contested congressional races in the country. The Speaker of the House has been here. The Vice President has been here. A number of members of the Cabinet have been here in the Lehigh Valley. The President of the United States, Donald Trump himself, has come to the Lehigh Valley. That man can be anywhere in the world doing whatever he needs to do. But he came to the Lehigh Valley specifically to support Ryan McKenzie. We need you to do the same thing. Whatever you can do. Some of you are retired, you have a little more time. Some of you are working, maybe you have a little more money. Some of you maybe not have much of either. That's okay. Get your neighbor to vote on election day. I don't care if they do it by a drop-off ballot. I don't care if they go on election day. They need to go. It is imperative. Ryan won his race 2 years ago by 1%. Less than a few thousand votes made the difference. We need that kind of turnout in this election to make sure that it happens again. And then we need to go down the ballot and make sure that all of these people to the left, whatever district, whatever section you're in, they also are there. Josh Shapiro gets reelected, if we can't get Stacey Garrity across the line, you can look that Pennsylvania will become Virginia in a couple of months. It will be a nightmare. Absolute nightmare. Taxation, our freedoms of assent, our freedom of religion, our freedom of speech, and our gun rights gone in just months. And I don't say that lightly. I do not say that lightly. I am not a fearmonger, but this is the most important election of our lifetime. Because if we want to continue the movement that we made happen, that you made happen 2 years ago, we need to get out and do it all again this time. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. That's what I love about Andrew. He keeps me straight. So, on October 9th, we will have our chairman's dinner at the Hotel Bethlehem. You are all welcome to attend. We'll have some additional details, but I have been promised we will have a very special guest speaker at that. So thank you.
Thank you, Chairman, Vice Chairman. Lynn has done a great job fundraising and keeping us highly motivated in Northampton County. So, glad to have it. All right, speaking on behalf of Lehigh County, their chairman and vice chairman were not able to attend tonight, but we have someone that knows the vice chairman very well, the father of Jack Rivera, Robert Smith.
While he's up there, he's going to tell you about business afterwards.
So thank you, Andrew. I mean, what two great leaders. I mean, Glenn and Andrew. Andrew, I don't know where you find your time. Vice president of that, president here. God bless you for everything you do. Plus Donna. Well, I'm going to talk a little bit about my daughter. She's the new vice chair of the Lehigh County Republican Convention. This young lady has come a long way from terrorizing me as a young teenager. I am so proud of her. And the Republican Party is the Big Ten. As most of you know, my wife is Latino, so she's half Latino, and George Rivera, no relation to Jackie Rivera, are both Latinos, and the Republican Party is the Big Ten. I don't know if you saw the front page in the morning call. The Republican Party is on the front page. The press is finally realizing we're on the move, and these two people have a lot of energy. George and Jacqueline are going to be an excellent team. And also we have a new assistant secretary who I think just walked in, Jeanette Roble. Take a bow, Jeanette. Thank you. This lady set up the other day for National Night Out 3 tables. She had some help, but she was the coordinator. She did such an outstanding job. She has so much energy. This team is going to be outstanding. Thank you, Jeanette, for your support.
This organization recruited her first, though, so you know.
At the meeting, it was so exciting. It was a mandate. I'm not going to give the number because that would be embarrassing to the people who lost, even though my daughter won 59-10. I won't say that. But everybody was so excited, and you felt it in the room, the change, like the momentum. And it's going to be something. I'm telling you, they're going to work hard. And we are going to fight till the end. George and Jacqueline and Jeanette and Alita are going to be an outstanding Republican team. And Joe Frascioli, the ex-chairman, is going to the state committee. So we know we got a conservative on the state committee, because we got to do a little work there on the state committee, as some of us know. So we got a new conservative up there, so Joe's not going anywhere. He just went a little higher. Now, I don't know if you want me to talk now about my race. Okay, I'll keep going then. A little bit about my race, the state representative against the communists. And I mean a communist, Cece Gerlach, who dumped a kid in an encampment and it was sexually assaulted. She got ARD, and she was on city, and she's still on city council. Somehow she won the primary against Anna Taberkio, so I'm up against her. Last night's city council meeting, first of all, I was so proud when we did the Pledge of Allegiance tonight. Everybody had their hand on their heart. Everybody sang. You know where Cece did with this? There's the flag. Cece went like this. That's what she did at the Pledge of Allegiance. She doesn't pledge allegiance. She doesn't do anything with the flag. She's a socialist Democrat endorsed by the Social Democratic Party of America. You know what they stand for? They stand for open borders. They stand for abolishing prisons. So they stand for getting rid of the Supreme Court and the Senate. We don't want that in the Lehigh Valley. This is more than Republican and Democrat. This is an American issue. We've got to fight for our American pride in this race. And I am not going to give up. I've been into this race to serve the people. I'm 64. I don't need a job. I have a great day job helping vets with brain injuries. That's what I do during the day. And I'm proud of my job and I love my vets. But we got to stop this girl. This is a dangerous person. I served her on a school board. She cost us millions of dollars because of her vengeance against the superintendent. She is not a leader. She has bad leadership. And I will do everything to beat her. And I need you all to know this. She's a socialist, Democrat, communist. My mom was a Kennedy Democrat. My dad was a Union Democrat. I'm a Republican all my life. Reagan was the first guy, but first president I voted for. But she is not a moderate Democrat. Senator Nick Miller will not even talk to her. The Democrats in her own party have stayed away from her. I was in the parade. She worked with Working Families of America, whatever the hell they are, Working Families of America, another communist outfit, financed by George Soros. These people are being financed by communism from out of the country. This is a dangerous person. And it's, as you see across it started in New York City with the mayor, if people are watching, and they're getting because people are not coming out to vote. They're falling asleep. Well, we're not going to fall asleep. We are waking up. And this chairman and this vice chairman in our party and the great chairman in Northampton County and Andrew, we're going to work together and we are going to win elections this time. It's so dangerous for our country. Thank you, everyone.
So we got a guy coming up from Northampton County, same thing. Enthusiasm stands for, I think it's a Latin word, in theo. So in theo means filled with the Holy Spirit. And then the last four letters of enthusiasm is IASM, which stands for I am sold myself. So I would say he's sold on himself and doing a great job for our local county of Lehigh and our citizens of Lehigh. Great job. Thank you. All right, next up over here, Nolan Russo is going to come and talk to you about my PA House person over here, and he's going to give you some more information about some of the other races. So let's welcome Nolan Russo.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for having me. I always love listening to Bob speak. It always gets me very fired up. And he's a great candidate and running for the State House right now and putting in the work and knocking on a bunch of doors and talking to people. But, thank you for having me tonight. I've been coming to these meetings for a little while now. Gotten the chance to meet some of you, but haven't had the opportunity to introduce myself to everyone. So my name is Nolan Russo. I'm a Lehigh Valley native. I was raised in Bethlehem. I went to high school in Allentown. I currently live in Easton, which I think makes me officially somewhat of a Lehigh Valley Renaissance man. I serve as the Lehigh Valley Field Director for the Pennsylvania House Republican Campaign Committee. My job is essentially to help elect Republicans to the State House here in the Lehigh Valley. And every race we put a great deal of attention to. We have a fantastic amount of candidates. But I wanted to speak a little bit about one specific race that I spent a great deal of my time working on this year, and that's the re-election of State Representative Joe Emmerich in the 137th District. Why keeping Joe Emmerich in that seat is so important is the main thing I want to talk about. And the 137th, it's in the heart of Northampton County. It includes Nazareth, the surrounding townships, Bethlehem Township, Palmer Township, and communities stretching from the eastern area toward Bethlehem. For the last 15 years, the person representing those communities in Harrisburg has been Joe Emmerich. I'm sure a lot of you already know Joe. Before he was a state representative, he was a teacher. He grew up here, raised his family here, built his life here, and after 15 years in Harrisburg, he still understands that his first responsibility is to the people who sent him there. I've gotten to spend quite a bit of time around Joe through his campaign, and one of the things things I've come to appreciate about him is what you see is what you get. Joe knows his district very well. He's out talking to voters right now as we speak. More importantly, he's run on a record that we can actually count on. He's stood with law enforcement. He's defended the Second Amendment. He's supported taxpayers and small businesses. He's consistently provided the 137th district with a conservative voice in Harrisburg. So when we ask somebody to vote for Joe Emmerich, we're not asking them to take a chance on somebody who tells them what he plans to do. We point to 15 years and show them what Joe has already done. And that distinction is especially important this year because Joe has a serious Democratic opponent in Jeff Warren. I don't know if he's a serious guy, but Jeff Warren is currently a member of the Northampton County Council. Before that, he served on the Easton City Council and on the Hanover Township Board of Supervisors. Politically, there's a very clear choice in this race, and I'll give you one example. So twice, Jeff has voted in favor of the proposed tax increment finance plan for redevelopment of the old Dixie property. That proposal essentially would have redirected tax revenue from improvements at that property back towards the redevelopment project for 20 years. County Council rejected it twice. Jeff voted for it both times, and now he wants the voters of the 137th district to send him to Harrisburg. But what's even more important is what his own party says about this race. The Democratic Legislative Campaign Committee has made Jeff Warren one of its targeted candidates. So they're really not hiding what their objective is. They describe the 137th as a seat they want to flip so they can expand the Democratic majority in the Pennsylvania State House. And frankly, I think we should take them at their word because this race isn't really happening in isolation. Democrats currently control the Pennsylvania House by the narrowest possible majority. Glenn said it earlier. One seat, 102 to 101. Think about that for a second. Out of 203 members of the Pennsylvania House, Republicans are one seat away. One. That means every single Republican seat matters. And it means a district like the 137th isn't simply one local election in Northampton County. It could be part of the difference between another Democratic-controlled House and a Republican majority in Harrisburg. And that goes for all the races in the State House in the Lehigh Valley. The majority determines committee leadership. It determines which bills move and which bills never see the light of day. And with Josh Shapiro in the governor's office, it determines whether there is a Republican House capable of providing a meaningful and critical check on his radical administration. That's why protecting Joe matters so much, especially getting other House candidates elected in the Lehigh Valley. And we can't assume this seat is simply safe because Joe has won it before. In 2022, Joe won with just over 51% of the vote. In 2024, he won with about 52%. These are close elections. The Lehigh Valley has become one of the most politically competitive regions in Pennsylvania, and Democrats know exactly how valuable this seat is. They're going to spend money here, they're going to organize here, and they're going to do everything they can to defeat Joe. And we need to understand the stakes just as clearly as they do. Because Joe is something worth defending. He's represented these communities for 15 years. People know him. For voters, he's their state representative. For others, he's their former teacher, their neighbor, somebody they've seen at a community event, or somebody whose office helped their family navigate the state government. That relationship with the community isn't something you manufacture. That relationship with the community isn't something you manufacture during an election year. It's earned. And I think there's a broader lesson in this race for all of us. National politics get most of our attention, and rightfully so. We talk about President Trump, we talk about Congress, we talk about Washington, wildly important races for this area and the country. But decisions made in Harrisburg matter enormously too. And if we want conservative government in Pennsylvania, we cannot focus exclusively on the top ticket and forget about the people fighting for those principles in our own backyard. Joe Emmerich, Bob, Joe Poplowski here right now. These are those people. So this November, the choice in the 137th, the 22nd, and 135th is incredibly clear. We can keep an experienced conservative representative who knows this district and has spent 15 years representing it. We can get conservative leadership in districts that have been part of the radical liberal agenda for a very long time. And that's why these races matter. That's why Joe Emmerich matters. That's why making sure Joe goes back to Harrisburg on November 3rd is absolutely critical. And before I finish, if anybody here wants to get involved with Joe's campaign or just wants to learn a little bit more about what we're doing and how you can help, please come and find me. After the meeting, I'd be more than happy to get connected. And I'm really proud to be working to re-elect Joe. this area that I've called home my entire life. When I talk to people, I really mean it when I say I do this because I love it. It's critical to me that this area stays, that is my home and I raise my family here, and I want strong conservative leadership to guide us forward. So I'm grateful to all of you here who have given your support to all of the House races, and thank you very much, and God bless.
As you can see up there is the website for the Northampton County Republican Committee. That's our homepage, and then you can click on there where it says, here is the list of our candidates. We have there our candidates for the state with their websites, also what areas they serve. So you see Scott James there, Joe Popolowski's there, and Pilar, and there's Joe Emmerich. So we put there what areas they serve and how to find it. So we try to make it as easy as possible for you. So that's again on the Northampton County Republican Committee website. Next up, another person that does not have a lot of energy, Mr. Joe Popolowski. Top law.
How you doing, everyone? I'm Joe Popolowski. I'm running for Pennsylvania House District 135, and I worked outside today, so I don't know where I'm getting this energy at. But we already talked. I mean, we talked about how important this election is on a national level, right? We talked about how important it is on a state level. My opponent, Steve Samuelson, excuse me, let me see. My opponent, Steve Samuelson, voted for a bill that would allow abortion up till birth. Really? That's one heartbeat. That's one breath, and that's one cry away from what is considered legal murder. So we don't need to go on to that anymore. So at my campaign, I am in a Democrat stronghold. I got 2 Democrats, every Republican in Bethlehem. That's what we're dealing with. When I go out, I don't talk about party talking points because that'll lose my race. I have to go right on down the middle, and we're doing it real good. We haven't really gotten anybody after us yet, so we're hoping we really have to pull 20 to 30% of Democrats to win this vote, that's going to be really difficult. So what we have going on, we got some social media videos that are killing them out there. I did one on flock videos. We had 1,500 hits in one day. So we got a social media crew out there killing them for us. But what I wanted to talk about is that when I approach talking to people about this, I stick with the points that we have for our community. The bad roads, the homeless camps, unaffordable housing. That's how we're going to win this race, sticking with just the issues. But unlike all the Democrats who talk about these issues and stole them from us, I've had the answers to them for 2 years now. I ran this race for city council last year. I offered to give my $10,000 salary to start jumpstart programs to get our homeless out from under the bridge in Bethlehem. And you know what? They didn't vote me in. That's what we're dealing with. So we need your support. Every one of us local candidates need your support. But support doesn't buy campaign materials. And that's where we're coming into a problem. I can't go door knocking without door knockers. We need some more signs. I put $2,000 of my own money into this campaign, and we haven't got one contribution. We really need your help out there. This is my website up here. If you could give us $5 or $10, it would go a long way. So we really appreciate you, and we're out here to win this race for you. And anything that anybody donates to my campaign, if we don't win this one, I'll be out getting us a race next year. We're going to keep going until we get a seat in that stronghold. That's how we do it. We're willing to take the time and the effort that we need to get one of those seats. Thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Joe. All the energy of some of our candidates. Next up, Caroline Devenuto, a good Irish name, as they call her. And she's from the Deputy Director, Senator Coleman. Let's give her a round of applause. Welcome.
Hello everybody, I am so happy to be here. My name is Caroline DiVenuto and I work under Dan Maneri at Senator Coleman's office. This is my very first meeting in the Lehigh Valley and I'm so excited to be here and to work with you. I cannot believe that you have over 7,000 members. That is unbelievable. It is unbelievable. I can't believe you have that. Over here, Bucks, I'm walking around with a rock in my shoe. So I think you guys are going to help me get the rock out. As far as grassroots organizing goes, right now we're using the Advantage Plus app, and we're willing to, I guess, work with I'm so excited to be here. I've never seen so many people in one room where I'm from in the Bucks County GOP. It's so much different, and it's amazing. So we have, before I go, Stacey Garrity, if we get her over the line like they were talking about, we will make women's history. For the first time in a quarter century, 250 years, a woman will govern this state. So if we can come together right now and make women's history, that would be everybody in this room is going to help take back Pennsylvania, and we are truly nothing without you. So as far as soliciting volunteers and getting a grassroots organizing effort out there, if any of you are willing to go door knock for our friends and family over here, I will do the same and door knock for you. And you guys will door knock for us too. It is so very, very important. And like I said, it's one and done on this app. There's Numenar, there's Pulsar, there's Campaign Sidekick. Unfortunately, we have this Advantage Plus app. We're 90 days out of the election, and if somehow we could just come together and just bite the bullet here and use it, delete it when you're done with it. Next year, you'll never see it again, but unfortunately, that's what we have to work with right now. We have to make the most with what we've got. So, I know everyone's on Pulsar, Numenar, Campaign Sidekick. If you would join me on Advantage, I will bring all of the volunteers that I possibly can, all of my grassroots organizing skills, all of the bodies that I can possibly get out there, and we will use them for every candidate in this room and every candidate that couldn't make it tonight. Again, thank you so much for this opportunity.
Well done, Caroline. Welcome, welcome. All right, next up, my friend Dr. Scott Jan.
Thank you so much, Andrew. So, I'm going to ask you a couple questions, okay? Kind of change the thing. So, is there anybody in this room who either is or has or ever had a mother? Raise your hand. Okay, come on, there's come on, all right, come on, everybody. You have a mother, you had a mother? No, you, okay. Of those who either are or had a mother, how many of you heard these words from your mother? Eat your vegetables. Okay? How many only heard it once from their mother? Nobody, right? No, nobody only heard it once. Mothers say that again and again. Why do they say the same thing again and again? Because it's important, right? Okay, how many people here have ever been, including tonight, to a tea party meeting? Okay? Yeah, okay. How many of you have ever heard, tell it to 10 people? I mean, anybody listening to Glenn Geisinger was said tonight. I hear it every time I come to the tea party. Sometimes you might not know how to actually do it. So Roger and Nolan have something to help you with. They have you see these bags, and in these bags, especially your Senate 18, there are 10 of my cards. So you will know when you have told 10 people when you run out of cards. And there's a simple explanation here that says what to do. This is a volunteer pledge for people who live in 18, Senate District 18, which is all of Bethlehem, all of Easton, about 2/3 of Northampton County. It's against Lisa Biscola. Can you hear Lisa Biscola? Thank you. Who has been there. By the way, if you look at Joe Poplowski, Pilar, Cavallo, Campisi, and me, that Bethlehem to Easton corridor, the three of them have been there a number of years. Okay, between the three of us, is it 80? Is it 90? No, if you guessed 80 or 90, you have one too few digits. Samuelson, Biscola, and Freeman have been there a total of 100 years, and they're asking for more. We need to stop that entrenched political machine. And that's what Nolan talked about, that's what Joe talked about. We need to stop that. So the pledge is to give these to 10 people. When I started here, and I made my announcement the very first day I made the announcement, it was 2 days after the election in 25. It was a hard week, but that was the eve I made my announcement. First, you gave me the ability to speak on the radio, yep, and then I spoke here. So when I did that, I got, I think, 15 volunteers from the Tea Party to help circulate my petition. So you guys, Tea Party, LV-MAGA, have already volunteered. I'm asking you, those of you who can, to take one of these packets and hand out these 10 cards to your friends. So this is a way to do that multiplication that we hear about, that we all know will help us win. Thank you so much.
Welcome. So as you hear, there's a lot of opportunities to do different things with different acts, different organizations. Like I said, Faith and Freedom, PHAs, all those different organizations. I will tell you, in Northampton County, I've been speaking to Roger and Glenn. So you probably have some neighbors that you wonder, are they Republican or Democrat? Come by the Northampton County office. We'll show you a walk list. Sometimes you don't want to talk to a stranger. You don't have the tech savviness. You're afraid to use those apps. But you can come and look at a walk list and say, geez, I didn't know my neighbors were Republican. Circle their name. Get their names and numbers. And that's how you get those 10 people. And make sure they vote. There has to be some skill sets that we can utilize to get those 10 votes. So that is a very simple way. Look, that's how I run the committee people. I'm involved in a lot of things, and if I hear them talking something conservative, I'm fishing. I'm a fisherman for men, so I rope them in. All right, so we are almost at the break. I'm going to ask you at this time, as you see there at the center of the table, there are buckets. We're asking you to be as generous as possible. Put in there whatever you're willing and able to do. Again, we appreciate your contributions. And would like to acknowledge real quick here. Switching back to the other monitor. Our coffee sponsor tonight is Joseph Buss, who is a member of our Lehigh Valley MAGA. I have had the opportunity to get better acquainted with him. Just an all-around great guy. So if you have any needs or concerns regarding your property, or if you have a friend, 10th friend he would like, so if you have 10 friends, see him and he'll take good care of you. I think he might have some cards at the table. If not, you see Joe's over here in a patriotic shirt. So again, please be generous as possible with the buckets. The team will be coming around to take that first collection, and there's still some Second Amendment 100 tickets for the next raffle, some cakes and cannolis, 50-50, don't forget the 50 Phillies. Frank Vasselli sold everything. He's selling his Philly shirt, and
Nope.
no one's going to buy it now, right? All right. And then we have our credit card machines. If you haven't joined, please consider joining. We'll see you in a few minutes, and then we're going to hear from Lindsay Steele. And let me tell you about Lindsay. So the question was, I want to thank Ben, one of our board members, for introducing me to her, but I thought, okay, let's do something for the majority of our folks here in this organization would be 55 plus. So I thought she would be a good informative session for you, and she'll help you make some decisions. So we'll see her after the break. We'll see
nearly daily for people. And I'm sweetening the deal. I'm actually having a pizza party Wednesday at the Northampton Committee Building, okay, this next Wednesday at 6 p.m. You're welcome to come. We're buying the pizza and drinks and snacks, and we'll go through the training. It's just 1 hour, and then the RNC then can count on you. If you say, yes, I commit to doing a shift on election day, we will be grateful to have you. So again, any questions, please see me, okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Sherry. If you don't know where your office is, Sherry, myself, or Roger from Little Park Road in Bethlehem Township. We mentioned real quick earlier, state committee. I know we have one state committee member from Northampton County. If there's any state committee member, if you could stand up. We have Dawn White back here from Northampton County. Is there any other state committee members? So state committee, they go to meetings in the state of Pennsylvania. There's all the counties. They have a set number of county persons that represent state committee, and they serve a different purpose than the county committee, but thank you for your role in that. All right, I'm going to introduce next one of our board members, Ben White, who is going to introduce our featured speaker.
Good evening, everybody. Good to see you here. We missed a few people tonight. I guess they're music fest, huh? You guys don't like music? I love that. So, the one I'm going to introduce, I met about a year, 2 years ago. I'm a member of the BNI, it's a networking group for business professionals. And she comes up and we meet every week, and she would tell stories about the work that she does to help seniors find the right place for their care. Sometimes that's on an emergency basis, and sometimes it's a planned event. And when she spoke again yesterday, not only did her emotion is so passionate about the job, she was emotional, and everybody in the room was, how hard she works for the seniors in Northampton County. So she's working and helps people with assisted living, memory care, and financial needs. So she has a great area that I've been here with you guys for 2 years, and I said, I got an audience for you. They could use your guidance. So, no more for me. So let me introduce Lindsay Steele, who works for Care Connect, and she's going to listen to her. She's got a great presentation, and she's here to help you. Thank you.
Safer there. Okay, great. Hi everyone, thank you so much for having me here today. I will say that this is probably the coolest room I've been in a long time. Seriously, really.
It wasn't here last month.
Really great.
It wasn't last month.
So, we're going to talk about starting to think about planning and what your life looks like as you start to age. And the idea is really to get those wheels turning. So, who here has ever thought about their retirement or is planning their retirement, what that's going to look like? Right? I think about it every single day, so you got to raise your hands, right? So, it might look like something like being on the beach, or traveling, or just hanging out with your grandkids, right? Wine tasting, or doing something fun. Or if you're anything like my mother-in-law, she has dreamt for years to just do nothing but sit on her recliner and watch her shows with coffee in peace. So, and as a mother of 3, I absolutely get that. All of these things work out really well as a plan when your body and your mind cooperates with it. doesn't sound like a whole lot, but the amount of work that we've done in those 3 years has been exponential. I have been with them for close to a year and a half now, and we have added to our team members. So we cover all of eastern Pennsylvania and the entire state of New Jersey. So I put a lot of miles on my car, I'll tell you that. And what we do is we fill in the gaps for a very siloed healthcare system and for our seniors. So if you've ever been to the doctor or had a hospitalization or seen a specialist, right? I'm sure somebody in here has a specialist, right? None of those people are ever talking to each other. And it becomes even more scary when you're in a crisis situation and those people really aren't talking to each other. And the social workers and all those people that are put into place that do a great job really have much larger caseloads than they used to years ago. And years ago, they used to be able to walk you through the processes that you need moving forward. But they just can't do that. With cuts to healthcare and all of those sorts of things, that has been the biggest cut. It's always social workers that get cut. So our job is not just, hey, here's a place you can go to, but the why behind it and how it's all going to get paid for and ... So we'll go to the next one. So the easiest way to kind of walk through this is to do a case study. And this is, I'm not breaking any HIPAA rules. I don't know Rose, I just saw her on the internet. But this is a normal kind of case. So Rose, where'd she go? She left.
Technical difficulty.
Oh man.
Rose, come back!
Hey. That's all right. We saw Rose, right? We know what she looks like. She's got glasses right here. So wherever Rose went, she's 87. She lives at home alone. And she's really pretty good, but she doesn't drive. And she doesn't really cook anymore because who really cooks for themselves? I have crackers and cheese and a glass of wine, and that's dinner, right? So her family's taking her grocery shopping and maybe helping her with her bills. She's got a cleaning lady, that kind of thing. And able to do a lot for herself. Yeah, there she is.
There she is.
There she is.
Rose, you came back!
We miss you. So Rose ends up having a misstep. She has a fracture and ends up at the hospital, right? We've all heard this kind of story. And so she goes through the surgery, all that sort of thing. Now we're in the hospital, and the social worker comes in and says, where do you want to go? Because now you need some rehab. Now, who here knows every single thing about every facility that's out there? You know what your neighbor said. You know what your brother's cousin, uncle said. You know the scuttlebutt out there. But you don't know the why behind it or what's good. So we'll go to the next slide. So a large part of what really makes a difference of what kind of care you can get is who's paying for it, right? That's always the first question. And so it matters what kind of insurance you have. So who here has seen these cards, right? The red, white, and blue card. Many of you probably have them. And the alternative is a Medicare Advantage plan. So we'll go back to Rose, right? So, well, yeah.
But I don't know how to work it.
So if Rose has Medicare, right, she can go to any facility that she wants to. All of them are going to accept it. And those facilities are going to pay for the first 20 days of that stay at 100% of the cost. Okay? After that, days 21 through 100, they do an 80-20 split, and that's where your secondary insurance comes in. And if you have a good secondary insurance, they're going to pick up that 20%, which is roughly around $218. What's much more affordable premiums. It encompasses everything, not just your medical, but your dental, vision. It's a one card for everything. That works when you're healthy. When we end up in a situation like Rose is in, your insurance really dictates where you can go and how much time you get there. So before you even leave the hospital, that social worker is picking up the phone to the insurance company and saying, hey, can Rose go to X facility? This is where she wants to go, and we need you to approve this. Okay, so they might approve it, but they're only going to approve for maybe a short amount of time, maybe a week, and then they say we want updates. And I'm going to expand more upon this. But those updates get shorter and shorter and shorter. And the idea behind those, the time that you're getting, is not to bring you to full capacity. It is to get you to a point where you can function at a level of care that they're not paying for. And I'll talk more about that. So those are the two that we're really dealing with, and that's where Rose is right now. So poor Rose, we're gonna get her somewhere. All right, next slide. So here are the expectations and the common misconceptions that people have. I get phone calls every single day from people in panic to say, I need your help because mom can't go home, or all these kinds of things. We found ourselves in this crisis situation. And my first question is always, well, how long have they been there? 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and nobody's spoken to this family at all about anything. And it's become increasingly clear that going home is going to need some work, or maybe that's not going to be able to happen. So here's the expectations of rehab. I said this before, 100 days of coverage. I can't tell you how many times over the course of my 20 years in senior living, people have said, but I get 100 days. No. That's your benefit period, okay? Weekly updates. So when I'm getting that phone call, nobody's told me anything. They're expecting that the facility is going to call and say, hey, this is what's going on, and this is what kind of help that you need, and we're going to keep sort of working on this. Oftentimes, folks don't even hear from the social worker until it's time to issue a cut date. Stay until previous baseline is achieved. So Rose, she was at home, walking around, doing her own thing, just fine. But the insurance company doesn't necessarily care about that. They care about what they're paying for. So if your care needs can be cared for either at home with home care or an assisted living facility, if we've now gotten to that point, according to the insurance company, we're golden. We're going to cut you and get you out of here because we're spending a whole lot of money for you to be there. So here's what actually happens. So you get an average of about 2 to 4 weeks. That's about what you get. When people call me and they say, well, mom's been there for about 3 weeks, I say, that's a gift. That's really great. And expect to get a discharge date pretty soon. And so that's when we start formulating our plan. And 99% of the then we talk about what do we actually decide to do at this point. Plan A is always home. Sorry, I didn't mean to crack that in your ear. So Plan A is always home, right? It's what everybody wants to do, and we're here to support that as well. So what does that look like? So now Rose needs some help. She needs somebody to be there to maybe just to spot her when she gets up, uses the bathroom, we can't do stairs or whatever. So that's where home care comes in. And home care is helping with those activities of daily living. So that's when they're doing assistance with bathing, dressing, assistance with meal prep, housekeeping, taking you to appointments, those kinds of things, those household kinds of things. I will say special, they do not manage meds, okay? They will not touch meds, they can't, it's a huge liability. So who pays for that? You do. So private pay, you're looking at $37 to $40 an hour, 4-hour minimums is generally what you're seeing, so that can be a decent price tag. There are some things that you can get with home care with Medicaid waiver programs, and you see the income limits there and asset limits. There are some things that you can get through VA aid and attendance programs. I encourage you, if any of you here are vets, I'm sure there's a couple of you, right? Please, please, please look into your VA aid and attendance programs. It's so underutilized, people don't know that they're there, and it can really save your bacon. So that's that. Home health. Home health is when we're dealing with nursing and therapies. So that's physical, occupational, speech therapies, and nursing. So maybe we've got some wound care going on, or we've got some cardiac issues that need to be monitored. Those home health aides are only, and the therapists are only coming in to do that job. So they're coming in for their session, 40 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever that is, and then they're out. So they're not there to also give you a shower and to throw in your laundry and throw the roast in the oven. They're not doing that. So who pays for that? That's the insurance. Your insurance will pay for home health, but that's only going to be a few days a week and for a limited amount of time. So then Plan B becomes personal care or assisted living. And I don't want to, if anybody cares and wants to ask the question later on, I can tell you a little bit about why I put personal care versus assisted living. But I don't want to get too technical for this presentation. So what do they do there? So that's when you're actually moving there, and they're going to do all your bathing, dressing, medication management. They'll bring in nursing for therapies, and all those things are all inclusive. So a lot of times home care, depending on what you need, becomes cost prohibitive because of the expense. So that's why people will then say, okay, we're going to have to look at assisted care. And those price ranges range there from $3,000 to $12,000 a month, depending on what you need. And that's including memory care, and again, I don't want to get too technical. So then who pays for that? Private pay. So there are no Medicare or Medicaid dollars that are allocated to this level of care. So that is private pay funds. You liquidate your home in many cases, long-term care insurance, VA aid and attendance, and just with their medical assistance you about what you want for your life and where your finances are at and all of those things, please, 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 please do that. Please have an open and honest conversation about it. And an open and honest conversation about what your expectations are of them and what they are able and willing to do for you. More often than not, I have conversations with families that are just incredibly exhausted because they're trying to do everything they can to keep their parent at home. So they're working really hard to do that, and so that's just my PSA about that. And make sure your documents are in place: power of attorney, living will, all of those things. And I can expand upon that if you guys have specific questions about that too. Question and answers.
Okay, folks, so we have Juan and Ben that have the microphones. So if you have a question, raise your hand. We have up here in the front, Bud has a question. Juan is bringing you the mic. Please speak directly into the mic. Try to keep it to questions, not discussions.
Could you clarify? We have a friend that's in a nursing home. All she has is a house. Okay? Now, she's trying to sell the house, and that asset will go to the nursing home. What happens when those resources from selling the house are gone?
That's a really great question. And off the heels of that, I will say that many, many people, I get the question all the time, they say, well, what do I do? Do I just sign over everything to the nursing home? No. I don't know if that was ever a thing before my time, but that has never been a thing, at least in the last 20 years, where you just sign everything over. The county and the state is not in the real estate business. You would have to liquidate your own assets. But in answer to your question, when the home gets sold, then that person gets back on private pay. So then they're paying that private pay rate until that asset comes down to those Medicaid asset limits that I was stating there. And then when that happens, then they get back on Medicaid. So they're likely on Medicaid right now. That asset gets liquidated, they come off of Medicaid, that goes to the nursing home, and then they go back on Medicaid. But again, it's only certain facilities that accept Medicaid, not all of them have a Medicaid license.
Yeah, hi, Lindsay.
Hi.
My name's Tom. We just went through this with my father. He passed away about 6 months ago. And I'll tell you, it's like you need a PhD to get through this. It is not a simple process, you know, the loved ones going in and out of the hospital, in and out of different care facilities. I mean, you've got to be an advocate. It takes a lot of time and effort. My brother and sister and I, we worked hard, and luckily we're retired and we could do all this. It's a lot of running around, and you know, people like you, there were some that were caring, but it's hard to find. So what exactly, how would you get in contact with somebody who's going through this? And like, are you assigned to people, or do you have to go out and look and search for you ahead of time? How does your service work?
Yeah, thank you. So really what we are very grassroots efforts. Our company, we have been in touch with every social worker you can imagine in the Valley, hospitals, rehabs, and that's normally where we get our referrals from. Somebody who is in crisis and the social worker's like, I don't know what to do with this family, they need more time than what I can give. So that's when we get those referrals, or from somebody that we've already helped, and they say, hey, look, they did a really great job for me. You know, here's how you can help. But we are not a franchise. We're our own company. And so we don't have large advertising budgets or anything like that. So that everything that we do is completely, it's been earned. So.
And is that a separate service that you have to pay, you know, for your service?
Oh, yeah, that's a great question. Absolutely. So our service is those types of low-income situations, we don't get any reimbursement for. That's just work that we do because that's the right thing to do for people. But of course, we do need to keep the lights on. So the way that we make money is when there is a successful placement into a community, those communities are contracted with us and they pay us a stipend from the first month's rent. That's how that works. But anything that's a government-backed payer or anything like that, insurances, that they don't recognize our service as something that they pay for.
And so we can call you and, you know, if we're in need of your services and kind of request you to do it?
Yeah, so my cell phone number is on the cards. It's the only number I have. If you have to request me, you get me. On our rack cards is the main number. It's a Jersey number, but it'll come directly to me. So, yeah. Thank you.
So, my 69.
Is it on? Time's on.
Hi. Oh, there we go. My 69-year-old mother is on hospice at home with end-stage Alzheimer's disease and dementia. My dad is the full-time caregiver, but is really struggling. She's been on hospice at home since October. And if it gets to a point where she would have to be put in a nursing home, she doesn't have medication, she doesn't qualify due to her pension. So what happens, the house is in both their names. So how does that work? Because when my mom passes, my dad's going to need somewhere to live. What does that look like? Like who covers if you don't have Medicaid after your assets are depleted?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So in terms of Medicaid, there are laws in place for spousal impoverishment. So it's not a hard and fast rule that, you know, the government does have their nuances, but they definitely do account for a spouse that is living in the community. So if there's a spouse living in the community in the home, you do not have to liquidate that home to pay for the spouse that needs care. So your dad would be protected as far as that's concerned, the asset of the home and one car, and there's some other financial considerations that come into play so that he can maintain his life, you know, at home. In some cases, in cases like this, sometimes people will decide to go to a very high acuity assisted living where they can get a very high level of care. There's a lot that can be done under a personal care level of care. A lot of people don't know that. The regulations allow for quite a lot. And you can do that for a much lower cost of care, especially when somebody is on hospice. And avoid being in a nursing home gives you a little bit more creature comforts. I will say the landscape, just to piggyback on that, I know this wasn't part of your question, but I think it's important for the group. Long-term care beds in the valley in skilled nursing facilities are at a premium. It is incredibly hard to find a long-term care private pay bed. If I called Riverton today and said, hey, I need a long-term care bed, they're going to say, oh, that's nice. Because what happens is people get into short-term rehab and then they never leave. So then they just sort of scoot into those long-term care beds. So there's some issues in the valley even for availability and really a lot for folks that need that Medicaid. Does that answer your question, or?
Sort of. So if my mom needs to go to nursing, she wouldn't fall. I mean, she needs 24/7 care because of her dementia, so she could never do assisted living. So if my dad chooses to stay home, she doesn't have Medicaid. How does it get paid?
So what would happen services out in the community, but they make too little in order to pay privately for it. That's why Medicaid is set up that way, that they'll say, okay, fine, we'll take what you're making, and then we're going to bill Medicaid for that gap in between.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Hi. My parents live near Pittsburgh in New Kensington, Pennsylvania. So I'm wondering, is there a similar organization that covers this area of the state?
And you're talking about Pittsburgh?
Yeah, Pittsburgh and New Kensington, which is Westmoreland County. Pittsburgh's Allegheny County.
Yeah, yep. So Care Connect isn't there yet. But yeah, there are other senior advisory companies that can tell you about the local facilities that are out there. A lot of the things that I'm talking about here are going to be statewide and even, countrywide as far as how those government programs work. But the local facilities and what's available to them and those specific costs in that area would be a senior advisor in that area.
How do I find out who the senior advisor is? How do I find out about that?
Yeah, so, and we can talk after and, tell you how to do that, but I will say, stay away from a place for mom, please, because your phone will not stop ringing, so please don't do that. But yeah, there are franchises. There's a franchise called Care Patrol. They have ones in different areas. There are some sort of, more mom and pop ones. Like, you're not going to find us necessarily on the internet if you just type it in a search engine. But yeah, we can talk after. And there's other franchises. Sure.
Lindsay, I had a question. In your presentation, you talk about planning,
Yeah.
right? What happens, I go home and my mother just fell on the floor and I don't know where to turn. How will you handle that phone call?
Yeah. So that phone call starts with telling me, first of all, how it happened, right? How long she's been living at home, kind of getting that backstory. And then it becomes meeting her where she's at. So we do a face-to-face assessment. I would go right to where she is, and we would talk. I would get a glimpse of how she's functioning, what her needs are. So when we say functioning, I'm talking about mobility-wise, I'm talking about cognitive-wise, and talking to her about what she really wants and how we're going to move forward with that. So we're very high touch. We see our folks wherever they are. So if they're in the hospital, if they're at home, if they're in rehab, if they're, wherever, we do that. And then we're walking with you through the process. So if we're touring facilities, whatever we're doing, I'm there with them throughout that entire spot. And yeah.
Okay, I think we have time for one more question. Again, limited to it, question. So since I'm paying for this microphone, I'm going to end with a quick question. So my question is, since this is, first of all, I think she did a great job, right? It wasn't a political question. Government health care. Is the government out to help us stay healthy and help us with our health care?
You know, if I had to give a one-word answer, I would say no.
She's one of us, guys.
They're not funding the things that are keeping us healthy, they're funding the things that are keeping us unhealthy. And it's a shame that our unhealthy foods and all of those things are much cheaper and cost-effective to buy than our healthy fruits and vegetables and organics and all of those kinds of things. And that's a major reason why we see the big healthcare crisis that we do.
Okay, so I'm hoping Lindsay's hanging around a little bit. Some people have already picked up her cards. And thank you very much for attending and being an ally to the seniors and our families. Okay, folks, if we get your name tight over here, we've got a line of people going over there. Final announcements are as follows. Upcoming events. Our friends at the Burke County Patriots, their meeting is Thursday, September 17th. Thursday, September 17th. If you're interested, kindly take a picture of that screen. Our next study meeting here is Thursday. Oh, we somehow our date got cut off on September. Also, I think because we have two machines here running this, somehow the laptop went bad. There's also any of you who are interested in attending the Pro-Life March in Harrisburg. The Pro-Life March in Harrisburg is like a mile march around the capital of Harrisburg. My bus is leaving Sacred Heart in Bethlehem. Last year we also had a pickup location in Folesville. And the fee for that bus is $20, and the date is Monday, September 21st. Monday, September 21st, Pro-Life March bus going out of Sacred Heart in Bethlehem in the morning, and we'll probably have a second pickup place in Folesville. If you're interested, see me, provide me your name, your mobile, and your email, and I'll get you literature on that. It's $20 for the bus. Okay, we have two drawings tonight. I guess first up is Mr. Mo and Tom Joy with our 50-50 raffle. Great, thank you. Tonight's winner will receive $160. And the winning number is 0957189. 0957189. 7189 7189. Check your tickets. It's worth $160. Oh, we got the winner. Thank you very much. Boy, I think you should rub her hands. That's because she has a lucky hand. All right, we also have a drawing which is Melissa has the 100 ticket raffle. So if you can stay put, let's see who won that one. Folks, quiet for a second so we can hear the winning name.
And the winner tonight is Maureen Jewelry.
All right, Maureen. All right, folks, if you could stay put for a second, our closing remarks. Thank you very much for being here. Again, if I had 2 minutes with each and every one of you, I would tell you, you are special. You are a child of God created in His own image. And you can make a difference within your family, your neighbors, and your neighborhood. Please encourage people to vote. If you're not sure how to do it, see Roger, myself, Steve Roberts sent that behind will help you to do
do something to get people out there to vote. If we can close with a prayer, please. Silence, please. Heavenly Father, we thank you for all the candidates, campaigns, PACs, organizations that came this evening to speak on behalf of making America great again. We thank you for our friend Lindsay, who is watching out for our elderly and the families that deal with the elderly. We ask you to bless her and her organization. We ask you to bless each and every member in this family, for we are a family here at the LV-MAGA, and for those who are not able to attend. For when 2 or 3 are gathered in his name, there I am in the midst of them. Folks, hope you have a safe trip home. God willing, we'll see you next month. Thank you.